Whether you're a kid taking 2 buses and a train just to get to school, or a single mother who's working 2 jobs to put some food on the table, or an immigrant just arriving, getting your first apartment, forging a future for yourself in a place you dreamed of. That's why for me, this day isn't about me or Barack. It's not even about these beautiful paintings. It's about telling that fuller story, a story that includes every single American in every single corner of the country, so that our kids and grandkids can see something more for themselves. And as much as some folks might want us to believe that that story has lost some of its shine, that division and discrimination and everything else might have dimmed its light, I still know, deep in my heart, that what we share, as my husband continues to say, is so much bigger than what we don't. Our democracy is so much stronger than our differences. And this little girl from the South Side is blessed beyond measure to have felt the truth of that fuller story throughout her entire life, never more so than today. So thank you to President Biden, to Sharon, and to all of you today for playing a part in this day and all the days that led to it. And now.
And that concludes her segment on the unveiling of the presidential and first lady portraits. We need to acknowledge that there are artificial barriers in front of people still, which is what Michelle alluded to with her dimming light segment about this. There are still artificial barriers put in people's paths, and those barriers are trying to be increased by some people. We see a slew of people saying that we shouldn't have public schools anymore. We see a slew of people saying that we should get rid of every single aspect of welfare. Doesn't matter if the person can't work or if their child is left to suffer. Welfare is considered a great immoral, and it should be gotten rid of in these people's eyes. I am a product of government welfare. So I'm going to talk a bit about myself for this segment. My parents are, or never were, rich my entire childhood. Hell, we weren't even middle class. We like to say that we're lower middle class, but that is only because of my mom's family and the passing of her mother, which left us enough money for my parents to purchase their home. Had it not been for that, I would have moved around and bounced around from apartment to apartment or duplex to duplex, as the situation may entail, due to the fact that my parents just couldn't make enough to provide us the life that they wanted to. When I entered middle school, or not middle school, I'm sorry, when I entered elementary school, after kindergarten, I went from a kindergarten that wasn't very good, where you literally played all day and explored, but more introduced to like basics, like more basics than, you know, this is an A, this is your ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, right? Wasn't taught to read in kindergarten, wasn't really exposed to it, could barely write my name. I went to a pretty shitty kindergarten. From that kindergarten, I went to a Montessori magnet school my mother got me into, where I was expected to already know the basics of reading, basics of arithmetic, and everything. I was behind in first grade. On top of that, I was not getting reading at all. Didn't matter how many times my mom sat with me to read, which she did a lot, God bless her, or other teachers sat to read. It was a combination of not being taught phonics, which is a issue that a lot of people face, but also being basically blind when it comes to nearsightedness. I was farsighted. I had astigmatism that required corrective prism lenses to correct. And I didn't know that until second grade. And the only reason that was discovered because my school offered free eye exams in second and third grade. I got glasses in third grade because Medicaid was expanded to more students under Clinton's plan. By the time I was in 5th grade, I was reading at beyond 5th grade level. I would not be in the position that I am right now. Like, it was so bad that I was wrongly given the learning disability title. And that's just the start of it. My parents had food stamps at one point. We weren't in abject poverty. I'm not saying that we were. But if it wasn't for these programs, Medicaid, top among them, getting into a decent school that I lucked into, my parents lucked me into, and being given free eye exam and free glasses because of a government provided program, having the stopgaps in our income being supported by combinations of unemployment and various forms of welfare, food stamps, etc. I don't know where I'd be. And if it wasn't for the programs offered to poorer students, I don't know if I'd ever have gone to college. I would not be the educated person that I am today without these programs. And it is very frustrating to me, upsetting, maddening. We can go on and just escalate this further and further. There are people that don't see these things as public goods. They don't see the transformative nature that a well-run government program can have on the life of a person or a child, or do not have enough empathy to even, oh no! And they want to take away more of these things. They want to see all the programs gotten rid of. People want to have this idea that if you do not work at all, you should starve to death, regardless of your ability to work. And it's disgusting. It is immoral to do this to people, especially when a country is as rich as ours and we have the ability to help our neighbors do this. We can argue over the efficacy of some programs. I am not one to say that every single government program should just be kept because it is a government program that helps somebody. The government programs need a lot of reform, but too often, that reform comes in the form of cuts, whether it be education cuts that we see at the college level, whether it's food stamp cuts that we see promoted by pretty much every single Republican state, whether it's limiting the amount of time a person can have welfare assistance and completely decimating the ability of cash assistance to anybody because they'll just sit on their asses and eat bonbons. Yeah, they still use that. Oh no, line, and they don't want any of it. And how am I supposed to react to that? How's anybody supposed to actually react to that, knowing the good that comes out of many of these programs, at least for a few people? I do not have anything, or at least very little, to be charitable in common with people that want to see the entire government apparatus demolished. Why would I? That's what I want to say about that. So thanks to Michelle Obama for bringing that up.